Alright, dan sekarang ini bersama dengan kami ialah Mr. Paul Farberman, juga bekas pesakit Covid-19 yang berada di Los Angeles, Amerika. Hello, how are you, Paul?
I'm wonderful. I feel great. But when you say all those things, I must be over 100 years old to have had all those things. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That was your
I feel
experience,
great.
Paul. Yeah.
Last month, I was not feeling so great in the hospital, but right now, I'm fully recovered. I went through a horrible experience, but as I explained, I feel better now
Yes.
than before I got the coronavirus.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I
And
can
thank
tell
you.
I can tell you why. I think I do. It was.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you about the experience. Was very horrible, of course, but I couldn't eat for a few weeks, so I lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And I think that makes more energy. I feel better. Combined with the fact I really have a better appreciation of life. I'm very serious about that. What I mean is, when you go through, and many people go through some very traumatic things, and when I read every day about the people dying, many people much younger than me from the same
Yes.
virus, I feel very blessed and fortunate and lucky to be alive and be healthy. And so I every day I'm more grateful for life in general, and I think more so than I was. I'm a little bit more sensitive, emotional, and caring, and so I think I'm actually a better person for it.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. All right.
I don't want
Paul.
I don't want anyone else to go through that to become a better person. Hopefully, we can all be better people without having to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your experience. That maybe you can tell us when you got to know that you are the COVID-19 carrier. Paul.
Yeah.
Sure. So I live in Los Angeles. Of course, it's impossible for me or the doctors to know where and when. But my best guess is I was in Los Angeles at the end of February. I was in Toronto for a few days, and then I flew from Toronto to London at the end of February.
Right.
And in fact, I was had some meetings in London. I was supposed to go with some very, very well-known songwriters and some people in London to Dubai. We are organizing to do a very high-level, this will interest Haiza, a very high-level songwriting camp with great writers and people, very major people in the industry. And the first one was going to be in Dubai. And we had meetings set up with the government officials, marketing people, to go there beginning of March. And this is when the news started coming about the virus. And we thought, maybe we should put it off because we don't want to get there. And maybe we're going to get stuck there. And, so on March 2nd, instead of going to Dubai, I flew home to Los Angeles. And then 5 days later, I got very sick. Now, all the people I was with in London, nobody got sick. So I don't feel that it happened in London. I feel there's obviously a very good likelihood that on an 11-hour plane ride from London to Los Angeles, I touched the handle on the bathroom door, the seat, the tray, walking around. People, I don't know that it happened on the plane, but this is the most likely place in hindsight. And then it takes a few days, and then 5 days later, I started to feel very, very, very bad, very bad.
So beside you, who else that have that COVID-19 disease in that plane? Maybe you can share.
I never did check or find out or hear, and I don't know. And the doctors didn't really pursue that. No.
Oh, all right. So, Paul, as we know that U.S. or America is highest death cases in the globe, but can you share that how you can survive, or maybe do you think honestly that you can survive
with the coronavirus? Yeah. I think it's so new that even for the doctors and the scientists, from the day it started, they just learning as they go along themselves, working around the clock. And so clearly there have been people who died.
Mhm.
People like me who lived, and people didn't even have it as bad as me. So it seems, you can get, it seems a milder version or more severe. It affects everybody differently. And, they say to a large degree, and not totally, but people who have pre-existing uh, health issues and conditions with their lungs, with their heart, with something, they may
Yeah.
be predisposed to have more likelihood of death or not being there. But as we
Mm-hmm.
know, there have been cases of very young people, healthy people, athletes
Mhm.
in great shape who have contracted the virus and have died.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know. It's different levels of degree of seriousness,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I would say I was somewhere in the middle because certainly I had to be hospitalized. I was on oxygen 24 hours a day. I
Oh.
was sweating, a high fever, and my clothes would drip, and I would get chills and cold, and I aches. And when they let me go home from the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
How many?
uh,
How many days? How many days in
just over a
hospital?
week, maybe 7, 8 days in the hospital.
Mm.
And then when I went home, they had to send me in an ambulance. And then because we don't know who's around, and an ambulance, and then I had to have an oxygen machine in the house, and
Yeah.
I was on oxygen for a while, for a week, 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I will say, when I was in the hospital, and actually for a few weeks when I came home, I
Yeah.
Mm.
refused to turn on the news. I watched no news. I didn't want to know what was going on. There was
Okay.
nothing good going on. I didn't want to know. It's
All
enough
right.
that I would see on my phone some things, but I didn't want to know. And I'm lucky when I was in the hospital early March, that was when things were beginning to get bad.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I wasn't scared of dying. I never thought I'm going to die. No
All
way.
right. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
The only time I was scared, a little bit afraid, when I'm in the ambulance lying down going home, I realize I'm going home. I live
Okay.
alone. I live by myself. I'm
Mhm.
now going to be home on an oxygen machine. If something goes wrong, there's no
Oh.
button to press like in the hospital. Nurse,
All right. All
nurse,
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
nobody. There's nobody.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
But I'm very lucky. Once I got home, I just relaxed. I took the oxygen. I rested. I read. I stayed in bed when I got home for a good week. I didn't, other than go to the bathroom or go to the kitchen, maybe, but I
Mm.
didn't watch TV even. I just stayed in bed. I was
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
reading books and just resting.
You
And
quarantine yourself at home.
yeah, in my room, only in my room. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
And then as I felt stronger and could go off the oxygen little by little, I would
Mm-hmm.
just walk outside my door just to get some fresh air and sunshine. And but now I feel great.
All right, Mr. Paul, I have heard that you are easily drop your tears after your negative COVID-19 disease. Why? What happened?
It's when there have been, as I'm sure, in Malaysia and around the world, different performers doing concerts on TV from their home acoustically with a guitar, etc. And during there was one hosted by Elton John last week, and another one a few days ago with a lot of big stars, with Paul McCartney and Lady Gaga and Andrea Bocelli, Celine Dion. And while many of the performances are very
Mm-hmm.
moving and emotional,
All right.
for me, the most emotional parts of the show is when I see the doctors, the nurses, the caregivers, the people in the hospitals
The
who are
frontliners, right? Mm.
who are going in there risking their own lives, even though they have gowns and masks. They
Mm-hmm.
could get the infection, but they
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
giving up. They have families,
Mm-hmm.
but they are there, and I relate so much. It's so still raw and so close to me being in there only a month ago that I relate to all the people there, and I'm overcome with emotion. I've been crying watching some of these things, crying, relating to it, but happy because I, was able to recover and beat that damn virus and get healthy again. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
only because of the help and compassion that I felt, and
Yeah.
the care from the
Mhm.
people in the hospital.
Mhm.
And every time because I was in an isolation ward room, you know, when anybody would come in the room, a doctor, a nurse, a cleaner, even if they're there for 20 seconds with their masks and gowns, when they leave the room, I could see their gowns, they throw them right in the garbage. And have to get another one,
Mhm.
not
I
to risk
see.
that something might have happened for me. But I think they gave me comfort and hope, knowing I felt very well taken care of. I don't know what they were doing to me. I was hooked up to wires, intravenous. I didn't even ask, well, what medication am I on? What's going on?
Okay.
But I just felt they were doing everything, and
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
was
Thank
able
you
to
for
do
the
it.
frontliners, and I'm sure you're very strong, Paul.
I'm what?
You're very strong after you
Strong.
saved
Yes,
from COVID-19.
I'm stronger than ever. I have more energy, more vitality, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, ready to. That being said, I'm not going out and running a race. I'm taking it easy. I feel great, but
Yeah.
I know my body went through, like you said, a traumatic experience. And
Mhm.
so I just don't want to rush into doing too much too soon.
Yeah.
And so just relaxing.
So, Paul, if you don't
Okay.
mind, how old are you now?
I'm 68 years young.
68 years young.
Ah.
Cool.
Always young in heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm getting
Okay.
younger. I'm getting younger.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Paul, maybe you can share with us about the government of United States, how
Mm.
they measure and prevent all the COVID-19 across all the American Syarikat, all the US, America, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm.
All the United States, yeah.
I can only give my opinion and my honesty. I mean,
Right, right. Yes.
I don't blame the president of this country for the coronavirus,
Mhm.
but I blame him and his administration for putting their hands over their eyes and turning a blind eye to what was going on and not uh, looking
Is
at the
it
reality
is
of
it
what
too
was happening.
slow?
I'm sorry?
Is it too slow?
Beyond too slow. Yes, they
Oh.
didn't react. As people were getting sick and dying,
Mm.
he was saying, "Don't worry, I've taken care of everything. Nobody's going to die."
Mm-mm.
This was already people were sick and dying and getting sicker and sicker. And I'm sorry to say, I'm not sorry to say, he has continued to lie to the American people and the world, including this week. You may have seen he actually had a press conference where he told people they should take like Clorox, like bleach, and you know
No.
that you clean the table with, and drink it, inject it. And
Ush.
this is lunacy.
Right.
Mm.
And the next day, because everyone told him how ridiculous this is, you could die from doing this. He said, "No, I was just being sarcastic. I didn't mean it."
Mm.
But if
Mm.
you watch the tapes of him when he was saying that, he was not being sarcastic. And
You mean
even
it?
if he was, which he wasn't, this is not the
Yeah.
time when people are dying in this country like crazy to be
Right.
Mhm.
sarcastic and making jokes. So I think the situation uh, by the president and his administration in the United States has been handled so poorly, and I do believe more lives would have been saved had they taken better precautions and actions earlier. And it's not just my opinion, it's the well documented opinion. He is not a doctor, he is not a scientist. He should have been listening to the doctors and scientists who are the experts who know what they're talking about. And he has too often not done that. So, you know, that's my opinion on that state of affairs.